Hello everyone! Welcome to my review of the first episode of the Pokémon anime, or just episode talk of the first episode. I wanted to do this ever since I came up with the inception of this channel, of the existence of this channel. I knew I wanted to start it off with Transformers, but I also knew I wanted to get Pokemon content on this channel because I'm a huge fan of this franchise, and I already got the gameplay on the Let's Play channel. So what can I do here? I was thinking of doing the Pokemon anime, but I didn't know how to do it because I already had like reviews in that sense planned, the stuff that I do on Thursday. However, I didn't know if I could actually do Pokemon anime reviews because of the fact of how big it is, how much happens. However, as I was working on the seasonal reviews, I came up with the idea for episode talks, which is something that I did for Dragon Ball, and that kind of gave the inception on this. Also, unlike the other episode talks that I do, or even reviews on the channel, on like Thursday, the gameplay that you are seeing right at this moment is specifically recorded for these videos. It is not taken from my Let's Play channel, which I normally do. Because I wanted this to be special, so I played through the entirety of Pokemon Yellow. And I'm just gonna get chunks from that recording and use it for these videos. And also, you're gonna be getting these videos every Monday and Friday from this point onwards at 6 p.m. Amsterdam time, I guess, is when I will be uploading one review of one episode of the Pokemon anime. And this first episode is a big one. So let's just jump straight into it. So this episode starts off with the game intro where we have Nidorino versus Gengar. However, this time we get a little bit of enhanced because of the fact that the trainer recalls Nidorino and sends out Onix to fight Gengar. And also that trainer looks a lot like Bruno. So that's cool. Hey, maybe that was Bruno, maybe that wasn't. But then we cut away from that and we see Ash, who is watching this battle on the television, and he's getting ready. But then his mom comes in and is like, hey, you should go to bed. And Ash's like, I can't sleep, okay? Look, I know I'm supposed to get my starter tomorrow, but I can't sleep. And then his mom's like, alright, just watch this. So it's like a Professor Oak special episode about the starters. So Ash is gonna watch that, then he goes to bed. And then the next morning, he sleeps for too long and he accidentally breaks his clock because he is dreaming about which starter to pick. So in the beginning, he's like, maybe I should go for Bulbasaur. Or I should go for Squirtle. And then in the morning time, he's like, maybe I should go for Charmander. But grabs his clock and throws it against the wall, breaks it. So when Ash actually wakes up, it is way too late. So he rushes over to Professor Oak's lab in his pajamas. And then he meets Gary, the rival, who bullies Ash for a little bit, who's like, you're late and I have my starter and I'm not gonna show you which one I have and all that stuff. He does all that stuff. However, there's a little bit of an inconsistency here that gets, there's like a retcon later on. Because right now, Gary's like, well, it's an honor for you to meet the great Gary Oak. But it's like, later on, they're gonna say that they've been friends since they were kids. Like in the games. If you played the games, you and your rival were friends for a long time. But Professor Oak eventually invites Ash inside to get one of his starters. And which starter do you think he was originally gonna pick? If you pick Squirtle, yes, because Ash like, I'm gonna pick Squirtle. However, Gary, already took that one. So then he's like, alright, fine, I'm gonna go for Bulbasaur. And I love this stuff because no matter how Ash thinks about the starters, the favorite one is the one that he would have picked last. That was the last one on his radar. Because in his dreams, he's like Bulbasaur, Squirtle, Charmander. And here he's like Squirtle, Bulbasaur, Charmander. No matter what, Charmander's last. However, all three Pokeballs are empty. So Ash's like, do I not get anything? And then Oak's like, well, I got a little bit of a stubborn one. And Ash's like, I don't care. I need a Pokemon, okay? So give me that. So Professor Oak grabs Pikachu, gives it to Ash. However, this one has a bit of an attitude problem. So when Ash decides to hug Pikachu, Pikachu shocks Ash. And when Ash accepts the Pokedex and Pokeballs from Professor Oak, Pikachu shocks both Ash and Professor Oak because they're now in contact. So outside, the town of Pellet gathers for Ash to leave on his journey, and his mom embarrasses him in front of everyone by being like, here's your underwear, here's your stuff. And Ash's like, you don't have to tell me that. Don't do that, Mom. And then his mom is like, so is this your Pokemon? And Ash's like, yep. And she's like, I thought Pokemon were supposed to stay in their balls. And Ash's like, oh yeah, right. So he grabs his ball and plays basically catch with Pikachu, because Pikachu keeps hitting it back to him because Pikachu doesn't like to be in a Pokeball. So then his mom is like, well, Pikachu looks a bit weird, you know, it's a bit of a weird Pokemon, but you don't say that to Pikachu. So Pikachu shocks the whole town of Pallet except for Professor Oak, who stepped away. And then he's like, you know those rubber gloves that your mom mentioned? Yeah, those are gonna be great. So Ash puts on his outfit. He puts on the rubber gloves. He uses the clothesline to tie it around Pikachu and drag Pikachu along on his journey. And so it begins. However, later on, Ash tries to communicate with Pikachu. Turns out, Pikachu can only say Pika, because Pokemon can only say their names. And then, Ash pulls out his Pokedex, like, look, you gotta go in your Pokeball. The Pokedex says so, and then Pikachu hits the Pokedex, and the Pokedex is like, well, some Pokemon just don't like being in the Pokeball. So Ash's like, oh, okay, so I'm gonna untie you now. Can we be friends? Pikachu's like, no. And then they see a Pidgey. Well, a weaker bird, easier to catch. However, when Ash wants to use Pikachu for battle, Pikachu hides in a tree instead because he just doesn't care. He couldn't be asked to care. So Ash now has to fight that Pidgey on his own. So he throws a ball at it and he's like, I did it! However, the thing is that the Pokeball needs to rock 3 times and then go ping in order for the Pokemon to be caught. So Pidgey escapes the Pokeball. The Pokedex decides to get a bit snarky with Ash, which I love that about the early Pokedex. Like, in this episode, the Pokedex is great. Because, like, the voice actor is actually kind of laughing when he's like... when he talks about the fact that Pokemon can also escape Pokeballs. So, afterwards, Ash decides to use his pajama strategy on the Pidgey, but sadly enough, it does not work because Pidgey knows Gust and then Sand Attack. However, as Ash goes back to his bag, a Rattata is in there, and Ash chases it off. And then the Pokedex is like, well, these creatures, they live in the forest. And Ash like, this is not a forest. Well, sometimes they're also in fields in order to steal stuff from stupid trainers. Like, you calling me stupid? I love that. But Pikachu's in the tree laughing, as I am as well. But then Ash is like, hey, remember that Safari Zone place? I'm gonna grab a rock and frag it at that bird over there. However, turns out that was not a Pidgey. That was a Spearow, and Spearow is the exact opposite of Pidgey. Because while Pidgey is not really a violent creature, Spearow is most certainly a violent creature. So Spearow decides to attack Ash, however, then the Spearow notices Pikachu. And apparently, Pokemon are jealous of Pokemon that are caught. Wild versus caught. So, Spearow starts to attack Pikachu until Pikachu thunder shocks it. And then Spearow calls its friends. And then Ash and Pikachu are like, let's leave. So they boogie out of there. They run away from the Spearow herd as they are followed. And Ash is like, stay with me, Pikachu. I'll protect you. And Pikachu's like, no, see ya. And just starts running off. However, the Spearow kind of ignore Ash. They hit Ash on the way over to Pikachu. And they start pecking at Pikachu. So Ash grabs Pikachu, keeps on running, jumps into the water, and gets fished up by a girl named Misty. We'll learn about that in the next episode. Don't you worry about that. And she's like, look, your Pokemon's hurt. Also, she slaps him, not in the dub, but tells him that there's a Pokemon Center over that way. But then the Spearow once again have found them. So Ash steals Misty's bike and heads away from the Spearow. However, it begins to rain, which makes the floor slippery, and Ash falls off the bike with Pikachu as well. And then Ash gets up and he's like, hey, my name is Ash and I'm gonna be the greatest Pokemon master of all time. You will not lay a hand on my Pikachu. Even if it kills me, you will not touch him. And Pikachu sees this and knows that this is a trainer who will care about him until the day he dies or the day Ash dies. So Pikachu at that point jumps on top of Ash's shoulder, jumps into the air, and then a thunderbolt rains down from the sky, hits Pikachu as Pikachu's about to use Thunder Shock, and a big explosion happens. And after that, the rain clears away, a rainbow appears, and a big chicken is in the sky. And when Ash asks what that Pokemon is, the Pokedex is like, well, I don't know. I mean, look, I'm only programmed with the Kanto Dex, so I don't know. That one ain't in it. Just saying, that one is not in it. And basically, the narrator then tells us that there are a lot of mysteries in this world. And then Ash picks up Pikachu, and he walks a little bit further, and they reach Viridia City, and that's how the episode ends. And this is such a packed episode. So much happens in this episode. If I look at this episode, and I'm thinking about like how episodes are done nowadays, this would have been a 3-parter. This would have easily been a 3-parter. There's so much in this episode, but it also feels like they didn't waste any time. They didn't really rush anything. They just went, and they never stopped until the episode ended. I love this episode. I thought it was great. The bond between Ash and Pikachu. The fact that Pikachu didn't like Ash until Ash finally proved himself to Pikachu. And at that point, Pikachu jumps on top of Ash's shoulders to protect him. Because he knows Ash will risk his life to protect him. And Pikachu now is going to do the same for Ash as well. These two have made a bond for life. And I love that. It actually made me feel emotions. I'm not really good at feeling emotions, but this episode made me feel emotions. I was like, that's so beautiful. And the fact that we see Ho-Oh in the sky, a Generation 2 Pokemon, in the first episode of the anime, where Generation 2 wasn't even a thing yet. You have to think about this, because this came out in 1997, like 1 year after Generation 1 came out. We wouldn't get Generation 2 until 1999, okay? That is an unknown Pokemon that does not exist in the Pokedex. People who were playing Generation 1, Red and Blue, or in Japan, Green, they wouldn't have any idea what that thing is. It is so good. Such a good episode. And it really sets up everything. I very, very much loved this episode. So let me know you guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. What did you guys think about this episode? And with that being said, thank you all so very much for watching, and I do hope you guys have enjoyed. And if you did, please like button, subscribe if you're new, if you don't already, turn on notifications, and don't forget to check out my Let's Play channel. Link in the description and at the end of the video. And I guess I'll be seeing you guys Friday for another Pokemon anime episode. Bye!